Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Wrestling Ruined My Life podcast. This is my good buddy Christopher Clavos.
Hey.
And this is the one and only Luke Rude, the illegitimate son of Rick Rude.
Really?
Self-proclaimed.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. We'd like to start things off with a brief introduction. I said Chris and I have been friends for going on 23 years. Certainly over 2 decades.
Absolutely.
We met about in the 3rd grade.
You were in the 3rd, I was in the 2nd.
Well, usually good friends meet in the 3rd. Haven't you seen Fast and Furious?
No. Nor do I care to.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
People have said we were the living Beavis and Butthead. I mean, basically, we sat around and watched TV and mocked the shows we saw.
Including wrestling.
How did I introduce you to wrestling? Better question. Let's talk about me here for a second.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Conceited son of a bitch.
I started watching wrestling in 1990. I've been watching wrestling for going on 25 years. 25 long, scary years. And we've seen ups, downs, left, rights, and up, down, left, and rights again.
And a few Vince Russo swerves.
Yeah. Let's start with a little Q&A.
You want to start with TNA? Okay.
No, that came much, much, much later.
Oh.
I mean, even with the Jeff Jarrett years. So how long have you been watching wrestling?
1996, I believe, is when you got me into it. But the real story here is how you did it.
Do you want me to tell this one, or do you want to tell this one?
You know what?
I mean,
I'm going to let you do it, and I'm going to chime in as needed.
Okay.
If you say something incorrect, I'm going to correct you.
Ever since I started watching wrestling when I was 5, my dad and I used to wrestle in the living room and wherever, and it was a whole lot of fun. Well, then, I wanted somebody to wrestle with, and Mr. Clavos here was really, really big into Power Rangers.
Regrettably.
Well, I figured out a way to basically turn playing Power Rangers or cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians in the backyard into wrestling. There came a time where he said, I never saw Goldar do that move before. I said, that's called the airplane spin.
Indeed.
And he got kind of confused at all these locks and holds and slams that I was doing to him.
Mostly the locks and holds confused me.
And he asked me, he's like, I've never seen that on Power Rangers. Where did that come from? I said, that comes from wrestling, man. I said, he's like, what do you mean?
The thing is that you didn't really tell me anything at first, really. You just kind of just started locking me and slamming me and stuff and all this, that, and the other. I was starting to get kind of pissed off. My question to you is this, though. From jump, you were a wrestling fan, obviously.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Why didn't you just bring me into the fold?
Because I tried with other friends and they thought it was stupid. And,
I see.
They didn't know how fun it could really be.
Okay, well, that makes sense. That's, 23 years of friendship, I finally get my answer. You never explained that to me.
I mean, it was just something that kind of became because, I wanted to wrestle.
Well, yeah. And come to find out, once I got into it, so did I.
And, many pile drivers later, we come to this point.
Yes, we have.
I mean, I've wrestled you. I've wrestled all our friends.
We've wrestled all of our friends. We've wrestled together.
We pretty much tried to bring everybody into wrestling,
and it didn't work.
It was very hard for a while. From I'd say easily like the first 2 years that you were in the wrestling, and for me up until at least 1998. When it was all about Stone Cold and Goldberg.
Yeah.
And we were persecuted, we were ostracized.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. That was a momentary lapse in the thing. Technology.
I don't know the last thing I just said, but...
anyway, just, with our friends from school.
And everybody from school, really.
Yeah, really. It wasn't even people we were necessarily friendly with, per se.
Yeah, right. I mean, they saw me with the WWF magazine, and they were like, what's that stupid stuff? And I'd be like, it's wrestling. They're like, well, do you know that's fake? And I'm like,
Did you know movies were fake?
Yeah. Do you know baseball was fake?
Yeah, well, with the steroids and everything, yeah.
Well, hell, any sport you put professional in front of, it's staged to some extent, I mean.
But
Remember what happened in New Orleans in 2001? Pardon me, 2002.
yes, I do. The greatest job in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
For those of you not familiar with wrestling, a job means a loss.
Yes, where, I mean, you take the loss, no matter what.
Right. It's a wrestling term that means you're going to put somebody else over.
And putting someone else over means that, you're enhancing their character by giving them a win.
Right. See, so in that respect, the St. Louis Rams did a clean job to put over the New England Patriots after 9/11.
Yes, because actually
they started the season 0-5.
0-5. I never actually knew that exact record.
Because I said, and I remember saying the very next day, that would be some shit.
On September 12th, 2001.
Yes. I said that would be some shit if the Patriots come out of nowhere and win it all.
The red, white, and blue Patriots.
Imagine that. Which I don't argue is a bad thing. The country needed it.
Yeah, we needed it.
We kind of needed it.
But, Kurt Warner has an autistic son. I mean, he's already had...
And he's already had his time. He's got the ring. He's got everything, But it was needed. It was needed. Yeah, he had one already.
That's right.
Yeah, he won in 99.
He already did win.
Yeah.
That's right. Where 1 foot determined the Super Bowl.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
and that was
that
was against my.
Enough about that fake ass football.
I actually kind of like the Titans. I mean, I've got family in the area, and also,
Yeah, it's a family affair.
Kind of dig them.
Yeah.
But anyway,
because how does wrestling relate to football other than the jobs that teams perform?
Well,
because the following year the Panthers had to job to the Patriots to prove that
the first one wasn't a job.
Correct.
Which clearly it was. I mean, they could have just done whatever. It was a job.
Yeah,
it was a freaking
and they practically followed the same exact script.
Basically, yeah.
A 25 some odd yard pass to Ricky Prohl 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, actually, they won the Rams completed the job with a field goal.
Both games.
Last second field goal.
Both games ended in the last second field goal.
I think so. I can't remember 0-2.
Didn't the third Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles end in a field goal?
I'd have to look all that up. I'm not prepared to do that. But anyway,
if it didn't happen in the squared circle, who really gives a shit?
That's it. Because okay, as you guys can probably surmise from this discussion that we've had, we can relate anything to professional wrestling
and everything
in some way, shape, form, fashion, what have you. It can be done. We can do it. Is that going to be your new thing? Is that going to be your catchphrase for this show?
I think so.
I've never heard you say Mazel Tov before. Now all of a sudden mics are hot and you're saying Mazel Tov. Anyway.
Yeah. This is the entertainment industry. Microphones just pulled the Jew out of me.
I don't know how to respond to that. Anyway, so
that was an entertainment industry joke.
Oh, okay, I get it now. All right, yeah. Anyway, so speaking of ourselves and looks at things in general, some people who follow the business and know you personally,
yes,
would argue that you, in fact, have a nickname.
And what nickname are you talking about?
I am, of course, referring to the Wrestling Grim Reaper.
Ah, yes, the Wrestling Grim Reaper.
Why?
I think you know the story better than anyone.
Of course I do.
Take it away.
Well, you know what? You told one about me, so I'm going to tell one about you.
Go ahead.
It seems to be that every professional wrestler that you meet, or at least a large percentage of them,
very large,
die before their time, if you will.
Certainly.
Quote unquote. Die before they reach a typical, age where people start kicking the bucket.
This started in about 1996.
I would say
when I attended Slamboree in Baton Rouge in 1996.
So did I. We were both there. We weren't sitting together by any stretch of the imagination, but we were in the same arena, and so were a bunch of our friends actually.
Yes.
But
just from that event in itself, let's see who has died tragically or long before their time.
the Public Enemy,
Yes, the Public Enemy.
Rocco Rocket, Johnny Grunge,
Hawk of the
Yes.
Road Warriors. John Tenta,
yes,
also known as Earthquake or Shark Attack,
correct,
or the Avalanche.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something about John Tenta. I'm not sure if you knew. Did you know he played offensive line for LSU?
Yes, I did.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
why he's got the tattoo of the tiger on his shoulder.
I
That was
thought he
pretty
just
cool.
liked safaris.
You know what? He probably did.
Yes. But he was the kind of guy that liked to kill animals and not just take pictures.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And
He was a rather large man. He
then
could probably
one year later, which is actually if I would call it an accomplishment.
I wouldn't, but
Or should I say, proof of genuinity.
I'm not sure that's a word, but go with it.
Let's say yes and carry on.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I was getting ready for a WWF house show once again at the Baton Rouge Centralplex, now known as the River Center.
It's still the Centralplex to me and everybody else.
Sure as hell will be.
That's right.
A
house show that I also attended as well.
Yes. Well, I had met The Rock, and I certainly didn't kill him. I mean, if anything, I helped The Rock. My dad said, "Man, look at that big motherfucker over there. Look at the triceps on him." And I was like, "Let's go get his autograph." And I was like, "Dad, that's just Rocky, and Rocky sucks."
Wow.
He said he'll never be anything.
How wrong were you?
I was very wrong. Well, which brings me to
Well, hold on. Let's go back to an incident at Slamboree,
Okay.
and a man who's passed on within the last couple of years.
Yes.
I want to discuss the fucking Ramada.
The fucking Ramada incident.
Yes.
Yes. After the event.
Tell you what, you tell the story. I'm going to go get a drink.
Okay. Let's get into this. This is the first time I ever tell this story on air, publicly.
First time you've ever been on air.
Well, I mean, I've been on message boards and those things that used to be called chat rooms and talked about wrestling, but I've never actually told this story to anyone other than our close friends and people that, I was standing in front of. Okay, here goes. The person we're talking about is the Macho Man Randy Savage. This was on May 19th, 1996.
Just said it was Slamboree. Everybody can look that up.
Well, I mean, not everybody has the WWE Network that you can get for $9.99.
Or, you could just go to, Wikipedia.
True. Well...
Sorry, I'm just busting your balls here.
Yes, I understand. Well, my dad and I were leaving the arena. And we were crossing the street to go to our car. Well, all of a sudden, from the rear, Macho Man Randy Savage comes running out like a madman.
Imagine that.
Yes. Well, he looks left, he looks right in a frantic state, and he realizes someone stole his rental car. Not stole as in a fan just broke into his car and stole it. It was probably a rib and one of the other wrestlers. Yes, I said wrestlers.
Not sports entertainers.
Took his rental car. Well, he proceeded to take someone else's rental car. He throws it into the drive, and then throws it in reverse, and then pulls forward and stops at the parking lot attendant and says, "How do I get to the fucking Ramada?" And the attendant proceeds to tell him, "Well, you go right out of the parking lot and you take a left and you take your first left and it'll be right there." Well, as my father and I are crossing the road, he slams on the gas, and my dad jerks me out of the street because he nearly hits me. Well, he slams on his brakes, looks back slowly, almost something you'd see out of a movie. And I do believe that incident is what created the Grim Reaper.
You see, I didn't know that you felt that was the incident that created it. But I'm glad to know that now.
I mean, I think that was the initial shot fired on me that brought the bad juju, so to say, on the wrestling industry. So after this, many wrestlers that met me have died long before their time.
Now we're back at the house show now a few months later, or possibly that was a year later.
It was actually 1 year later.
Yeah.
And remind me to go back to the Macho Man Randy Savage. There's an interesting fact about that I need to bring up.
You know what? Go ahead now. We're just out of it, so let's go ahead and hit it now.
Okay. The Macho Man met his demise in 2010.
Correct.
He died on May 20th, 2010, which was actually 14 years and 1 day to the date. He almost killed me in an automobile, and he dies in an automobile. Spooky, eh?
Eh? The hell, you Canadian now? What the fuck?
Oh yeah, we'll talk about many different kind of Canadians in this podcast.
Anyway, continue on. So now we're at the house show a year later.
Well, after meeting Rocky Maivia, who later becomes The Rock, or Luke Hobbs for any of you who are into the Fast and Furious series.
Not I. Just don't get that excited about cars.
Well, I'm standing by the entrance to where the wrestlers, go in, and Brian Pillman, Davey Boy Smith, and Owen Hart are all together. And I asked for an autograph, and they told me, "I'm sorry, kid, we're running late. If we sign an autograph for you, we have to sign one for everybody." 1 year later, Brian Pillman dies of a drug overdose related heart attack.
Yeah.
Then a year after that, which would be 2 years, in a match that was certainly scheduled for one fall between the Blue Blazer, who is Owen Hart, and the Godfather. It was a one fall match.
Undoubtedly.
Then, I'm not sure the date, but not that long after.
Not long after, no.
I mean, Davey Boy Smith died before WCW did.
Yeah.
So,
ironically, the same cause of death.
yes, a drug-related overdose.
Indeed.
Yes. And then, and actually, we've only discussed this maybe once or twice. In theory, it was less than 5 years later, I feel I was responsible for the death of WCW.
I was just going to mention that. That just dawned on me. I just thought about that and said, you know what? Could it be? Could it be?
I mean, who else has died because they beat me? I mean, even recently, the last two wrestler deaths that we had, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes,
Yep.
and the Hot Rod Roddy Piper.
That was, to date this show, kind of like, that was, it was Friday.
Yeah.
And it's, today's Sunday?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I met both the American Dream and the Hot Rod at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans.
Wow.
Possibly, I believe
I didn't know that.
that the Hot Rod may still be alive if he did not do Legends House. Because I met him at a Legend House set, at the Legend House meet and greet at Access.
Did you ever meet the Ultimate Warrior?
I met him at
Slamboree.
No, WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania 30. Oh, Jesus.
I was actually by the entrance of the New Orleans Arena, which I will never refer to as the Smoothie King Center.
No, hell no. Fuck that.
And
It's nothing against Smoothie King. It sounds stupid.
I was standing by the entrance and where the wrestlers would go in at, and standing behind the railing, and I shook hands with him. He was with his family, and walking along.
You bastard.
Yeah, I mean, I was really upset about that. Because that was the quickest person to die because of me.
Is there any wrestler that you've met that's still alive other than Rocky Maivia?
Actually, I would have to say, if we count Tony Schiavone, I mean, his career's dead. Actually, let's run down a few Hall of Famers that are still alive.
Okay.
Bret Hart, which I met at WrestleMania 30 at WrestleCon.
And that was a big thing for you.
Yes.
Huge fan of the excellence of execution.
Oh, that's my all-time favorite wrestler. And, I mean, not to sound like a little bitch or anything, but 3 people ahead in line, I start crying like a little girl.
Hey, sometimes it's like that.
And when I got up to the stage, he says, "Why are you crying, man?" I said, I wiped my eyes. I said, "It's just a big moment for me. I've been wanting to meet you for 25 years." And he said, "Well, I guess you get to scratch that off your bucket list." And he autographed my WWE title.
Very nice.
And I have to check with my WWE guy, to see the value of this title.
Right.
I mean, I have a guy who specializes in John Cena.
Jesus.
Yeah. Actually, many Hall of Famers are still alive. Many of them, because of WrestleCon and Access, not much time has passed.
True.
We're shortly under 500 days since WrestleMania.
Okay.
But actually, speaking of people who are old and Hall of Famers, I would have to say one of the oldest and longest living would have to be Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who actually I've met numerous times.
Oh, yeah.
I've met him on 3 separate occasions.
Hacksaw tends to hang around this area for some reason.
Yes. I mean, he's probably not a very expensive booking.
No. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily that. I think Hacksaw just legitimately enjoys South Louisiana for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess because everybody's as crazy as him.
Right. Actually, one Hall of Famer that I'm hoping to actually die because I wouldn't mind if Kevin Nash would kick it.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because he disrespected me.
Really?
Because at WrestleCon, we all know Kevin Nash is about $1. We all found that out with the guaranteed contracts. You can hear that.
Okay,
you can hear that in the Monday Night Wars documentaries.
Absolutely.
That you can see on the WWE Network for $9.99.
You know any other good excuse for him to be Super Shredder? Come on now.
I mean, that's actually why I walked away, because I was getting ready to pay him $25 for an autograph, and I made a joke saying, "Hey, can you sign the belt as Super Shredder?" He said, "For $25, I'll sign it whatever the fuck you want." And I said, "No money for you."
That was actually I was at a TNA house show at the Centroplex recently. It was not really recently. This has been a few years ago.
Well, this was the second one, not the one that you had overslept in this.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Where I see you at the Murphy gas station, and I'm like, "I thought you were at TNA." You're like, "I fell asleep."
Yeah, I certainly did. I was fucking tired because I worked all day and everything. Anyway, neither here nor there. But at that show, Kevin Nash came out.
Carry on, Chris. I need to check to see if anybody's trying to break into the studio.
Or you just need to check your drawers. Anyway, fuck, now I can't remember where I was at. Where was I? Help me out. I know I'm at the Luke Mitchell Hotel Compound Resort Casino Hair Care and Tire Center, okay? I know that. I can't remember where I was in the story. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Nash comes out at the TNA show, And I get the chant started of Super Shredder, Super Shredder. And he just pretty much stared daggers in my direction because he pretty much knew that I was the one that started. He didn't appreciate it.
So he wanted to put his dagger in you.
I think he just wanted to put his fist through my face.
So you're telling me he wanted to fist you?
No. God damn it. I'm not going to get away with anything with you, am I?
No, especially fisting.
Anyway.
Quit fisting my table.
Yeah. Anyway, so okay, so that's pretty much why we call you the Wrestling Grim Reaper. Pretty much everyone you meet dies. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone eventually
Pretty
dies,
much.
but they die before their time, really.
Yeah. And then there's a few in there that, it's a stretch that, the fact that they met me, they died untimely. But there's a few that, we'd really have to look at the books to really determine if meeting me was the cause of it.
Right.
I mean-
well, let me ask you this. Did you meet Crash Holly?
No, I'm actually glad I didn't.
Okay, because,
I never ran into him at an AA meeting. Yeah.
That's bad. That's all bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They should have called him Binge Holly.
Oh, goodness. Well, anyway, at that same TNA show, I actually have a story where you got to meet your favorite of all time. And we know that's Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yes.
But I'll let you in a little bit on my psyche and who I am. At that TNA house show, I got to meet the man who is just an absolute legend in my eyes, and I nearly had the same reaction that you did. And that man is none other than Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Oh, then you must mean Mankind, Dude Love, Cracked Up Jack.
Cactus Jack.
That's what I said. Cactus
No,
Jack.
no, that's not what you said.
Yes. Speaking of crack, I've never met Jake the Snake Roberts.
You ass. That's fucked up. That's legitimately fucked up. Anyway. That's, I guess we're going ahead and wrap it here because now you get a little bit of our history and who we are and what we're about.
Dude, I never wrapped it.
That's a very good point. Anyway, we're gonna go on ahead and this looks like a good place to end it.
Let me see if we have any burning desires.
But no, just when I pee. But I mean, like I said, the next stuff we can go on to the next episode.
Yeah,
that's fine.
if there is a next episode.
Oh, there will.
So like, comment, request.
Tweet, even though neither one of us has Twitter.
Yes, correct.
Send us a message on Facebook, even though I don't have Facebook.
Telegraph us some nude photos.
Sure, why not?
Yes.
Fax,
Yeah.
Because we've got like 20 fax machines behind us,
Right. Mail us a Betamax of some type of kinky activity involved in wrestling, of course.
Some 70s porn or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wrestling ruined our lives because it's all we ever think about. We relate everything to wrestling, and like the movie says, good night and good luck.